Good evening, grand rising, and welcome to Wake Up Later with me, Sonia Poulton. And guess I'm a journalist, I'm a broadcaster, I'm a troublemaker, but then you already know that, don't you? I just said already twice. It's going to be one of those days. How are you? Welcome to the show that knows that truth can be both painful and liberating. And I'm here with the soothing balm if you need it. How are you all? I hear that some people have had to literally search out today's show. They've had to search out today's show, which is kind of odd. Why are they not receiving notifications? I'll have to get back on to find out what is going on there. How are you today? How are you today? If all goes to plan, we will be doing a live transatlantic link up with Jeff and Shannon from the Matrix Groove Show in the US. And I cannot wait. So much to talk about with the guys, including the LA riots, Trump, Musk, Q, and so much more. So much more. Fingers crossed that the tech gods are with us. Absolutely. And I see already that Matrix is in our comments actually and saying to people, you can also watch them on X. And you can. Please do. Please do. Please do. You've only just received the new notification, Jen. Hello from Hampton Court. Gadabout, you're just down the road from me. Plus, we will also be joined by Matt LANDMAN, the director of Frankenskies and organizer of the Geoengineering event in London on June the 21st, where I will be briefly talking and live streaming. And Matt's going to be joining us to talk about the event and more. Plus, what else is on today's Wake Up Later? MPs, abortion on demand, load of bull, reforms new chairman, dishonour, King's Birthday Awards, compromised MPs, and the non-stun slaughter. Music industry Zionists are up in arms, and they are attempting to carry out, or they attempted, and it would appear they failed, a secret Glastonbury plot. An RFK Jr., a cull, CDC panel, so much to talk about. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, English constitutionalist Graham Moore is in court on Friday. He was with us last week. I will put a link in the description at the end of the show. If you're not aware of what he's talking about, and I'll also put a link to a video that he's made talking about it as well. Support him if you can. And alert, the Prime Minister's office has been placed under lockdown in the last hour. That's the British Prime Minister, as police moved Downing Street staff into secure rooms. A police cordon has been erected on Parliament Street while officers investigate an abandoned vehicle. 4 police vans were blocking the route to the official residence of the Prime Minister. A spokesperson for City of Westminster Police said a cordon is in place at the southern end of Whitehall as a precautionary measure while officers investigate an abandoned vehicle in the vicinity of Downing Street. I see. And have you been watching the disorders that are going on in Ballymena, Northern Ireland? More expected tonight over the last hour or so. The police chief just gave a press conference. Serious accusations of sexual assault against children and allegations towards the Romanian migrant community. Houses and vehicles set on fire. Now, the thing is, the Irish generally don't mess around with these things. Mass uncontrolled migration is a concern for most people. You don't have to be a racist to have a problem. And in fact, it's misinformation to target people as such, a distraction tactic, as it were. So we shall see what happens tonight. Assistant Chief Constable Ryan Henderson was speaking to the media in Belfast. He warned any would-be rioters to consider if they really wanted to be associated with hate. He said 6 people have been arrested so far. One of them has been charged, and he said officers are reviewing footage to pursue others with prosecution. Over the 2 nights of rioting so far, 32 officers have been injured. His force has requested 80 extra officers from the rest of the UK to maintain their operation over the coming days, because they are anticipating that it's not going to stop. What are your thoughts, people? No, Stephen, that is exactly the reality, right? The Irish do not mess around when they're pushed. Simple fact of life when it comes to the Irish. And I speak as someone of some Irish ancestry. My mum was Irish, raised in Wales, but yeah, a Duggan. So yeah, we shall see what goes on. Rachel Reeves, awful Rachel Reeves, Chancellor. She's delivered her spending review today, setting out budgets for government departments and sending headline writers into chaos with talk of her spending as if money is going out of style. Remember, this is the Treasury psycho who thought it would be a good plan to start on pensioners and the sick and disabled first. Today's spending review announced in Parliament sets out her plan. She says 39 billion for social and affordable housing, a boost in defence spending, an end to, quote, costly asylum hotels by 2029. That's another 4 years. That's another 4 years. And she says that she's rejecting austerity. And she says the total departmental spend will grow by 2.3% over inflation per year. And she's talking about new prison places, reforming probation services, money for classrooms, rebuilding 500 schools, NHS, as I say, 3% per year. And some people say that her spending review, oddly, is not worth the paper it's written on. And some people say that she's just kind of like out of control. She can't add up. I mean, we do know that she came in on her position on what would appear to be a fraudulent CV, making out that she was much more experienced and senior in economics and finances than it would appear that she is. I know you're all shocked and surprised, kids. I know you're all shocked and surprised. How are you all? I bet she was as well, Top Smoke. Right, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about this because I know everybody's up in arms, right? It's that time of year when whoever is wearing the crown gets to award more establishment shills and sycophants in the birthday honours list. So this week, King Charles III, or Charlie, friend of nonces, as I like to call him around here, is awarding various stooges, arsewipes and sycophants. And the Royal Birthdays Honour, as I said on social media earlier, is really a public record of dishonourable people. This is a reward of public figures who are compliant to the crown. This is not about them working in the public interest or skill or talent or excellence. It's simply, are you compliant to the crown and will you be upholding the status quo? That's what it's about. Under Lizzie, the birthday honours list famously became known as the sex offenders register, and you can see why. And these are for OBEs and MBEs as well as for knighthood. So Rolf Harris, sex offender, Jimmy Savile, I mean, just kind of everything. And Stuart Hall and sex offender, Cyril Smith, sex offender, all of them to do with children. Awful stuff. So establishment stooges, Stephen. Yes, indeed they are. That is exactly what they are. They are establishment stooges. Yes, they are. And so everybody's going crazy, obviously, about Sadiq Khan. And yes, he's disgusting. And he's been awarded for being part of the green agenda and for making our capital city a place where few are able to drive through, but the roads will be clear for MPs and royals. So that's all right then, right? This is literally a reward for them being good establishment little sycophants. That's what it is. I pity anybody who gets it, frankly. I really do. Sadiq Khan said, it's truly humbling moment for myself and my family, and one I hope inspires others to believe in the opportunities our great capital offers. He always talks on his X about how our capital city is open. The same, of course, cannot be said for his X account because he tweets and then doesn't allow anybody to comment. I actually think if you are a public servant like Sadiq Khan, you should not be allowed to turn off your comments on social media. You absolutely shouldn't. And but we all know he is an absolute sycophant. I mean, he was always Sadiq Khan was always supposed to be this great socialist, right? This man is vile, gadabout. Yes, indeed. Knighted for services to child abuse. He's pathetic. He's a pathetic individual. It's only a matter of time, though. Only a matter of time. And of course, David Beckham's going to get knighted and a whole host of other people from TV and media. And you're going to be puking for the rest of the week about it. Yes, you are. But for me, it helps to remember that the only reason they get this is because they are establishment arsewipes. And I will never be one of those, ever. Proudly so. Indeed. Davina says the honour system should be abolished. I agree. I would also abolish the entire British royal family as well. All Beckham's begging worked then. It did. They did a lot of begging, a lot of begging. And he will be known as Lord Beckham and she will be known as Lady Beckham. Hilarious. Marco doesn't believe that they get to those positions without being compromised. I tend to agree. And I wonder if we've got time for another story before I bring in my guests. Let me just see if I can bring this up. This is fairly repugnant, but you won't expect any more from the person involved, I have to say. Let me just see if I've got her here. Here she is. Her name is Stella Creasy. I'm sure many of you have heard of her. She's a Labour MP for Walthamstow in East London. She's almost always on the wrong side of history. Now she wants to decriminalise abortion. Don't get me wrong. Right? I don't think anybody should be considered a criminal for an abortion. But the problem is about hers, what she's attempting to do is it means that abortion would be available on demand. Now, abortion should never be used as a contraceptive, right? Abortion is an awful thing. And I believe in pro-choice because I don't want to go back to a time when women are going to have to go to backstreet abortionists, right? And put themselves through hell. But neither should it be used as a contraceptive. And that is the way it's going at this moment in time. Even leading pro-abortion groups are concerned about what she is proposing. And what she wants is an amendment which is due to take place on June 17th and 18th during the report stage of the criminal justice bill. And what would happen is the amendment would remove criminal penalties for abortion in England and Wales, bringing it up to speed with Northern Ireland, effectively decriminalising the procedure in all circumstances. Now, that could also be for sex selection. Right. And I would advise anybody to have a look at Stella Creasy's constituency. And they may well be people who would be interested in sex selection. So I don't support this at all. Not at all. I think that we've got the law right as it is. Of course, as I say, we shouldn't be criminalised. It's legal to have an abortion in England and Wales with an authorised provider up to 24 weeks. Even that is a long term. It's a long term. And some circumstances would allow abortions after this time at the moment, such as when the mother's life is at risk or when the child will be born with a severe disability. But this, what she is proposing, she's like, I don't like all this misinformation, but what she is proposing is essentially abortion on demand for whatever reason. And I think that that is a dreadful state of affairs, if that's where she wants to be taking this. And it worries me deeply. Right. What? Not even a severe disability. That's right, Rachel. That's right. And that's not to say that I agree that people should automatically abort just because they found out that their child has any kind of disability. Not at all. People manage in all manner of ways, okay? But what she's proposing is literally, just literally taking the brakes off. And it really concerns me. She's always on the wrong side of history. She's the one who has really pushed for the whole idea that women can have penis and men can be women. She's a lunatic. She's an absolute lunatic. She took her child into Parliament and did all this kind of big banging around about how she couldn't really do her job properly because she had a child. Yeah, well, that goes for all working mothers. Why should an MP be any different? So she is almost perpetually on the wrong side of history. And this whole idea that to take abortion up to full term is egregious at best. This probably could only happen potentially under a Labour government, which is very concerning. Yes, Randy, indeed, absolutely. They are scum. They are scum indeed. I'm, as I say, I'm all about pro-choice, right? But I think that we have to also have constraints, rules, and regulations. These are important. It shouldn't just be on a whim, because what price life? What value life? What value life? No, synchronized souls. It would only allow me to do addresses for 3, and Rumble wasn't one of them, but it doesn't matter. We will upload after the show. I can see that one of my guests is already here, which is fantastic. I can see both of them, which is fantastic. Why wait any longer? We have so much to ask these guys. Let's bring them in. We have Jeff. How are you, Jeff? Wonderful. Hello. You with us?
Hello. Thank you for having us here on your show. We're waking up with you guys as well. Good morning.
Good morning to you. And we have Shannon. Lovely to have you both with us. You are, of course, Jeff and Shannon from the Matrix Groove Show. I am absolutely delighted we've been able to link up. Big shout out to your producer for working out how the hell we were going to do this. Right?
This is amazing. We just told our audience that we're going to simulcast you broadcasting us, and they were completely confused but excited. It's so great to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you.
And with your reach and our reach together, I mean, we do 200 to 300,000 views and listens a day, and you do probably just about as much or more than that. So we're going to get the word out. We've got a lot going on in America right now. You know, we had the 2020 election stolen from us. It was rigged, you know, but maybe not rigged the way that people are saying it is, right? There's been a lot of confusion about what Q was, and you know, we might want to refrain from saying that, or you could get banned off YouTube because they took our YouTube channels down as we were attacked.
Now, that is interesting you say that, Jeff, because obviously the whole issue of Pizzagate, very much a Q issue, right? That was one of the... No. Interesting.
That was set up before the 17 started posting.
Okay, very interesting. Just to say, because I got in trouble on YouTube for that. So, okay, so we will be careful. We will absolutely be careful. But I have questions, so many questions. And when I told our viewers that you were coming in, I got a pile of emails saying, please can you ask the guys this? Fantastic stuff. Sure. We love it. Absolutely love it. So
Sonia, let me quickly just show you like how censored we are really quick. Okay. I'm Jeffrey Peterson. I was doxxed in 2019 after I said the word Paysur, which is, you know, the French monarchy. Okay. The Merovingians, they came to America and that's how America started, right? When I said that, that's when we got censored. Media, in 2019, February 22nd of 2019, Hillary put me on a list of 200 people she wanted off Twitter. I was in Twitter Files 16. Angus King, a sitting senator, wanted me off Twitter as well. Okay, he was on the Intel group along with Adam Pencilneck Schiff. I've got Shady and I have over 40 articles written about Media Matters, which is David Brock, which conveniently is, you know, possibly Alephantis's lover, attacking us on the daily when we have all these guests. So we are highly censored. I did get my Twitter account back, as did Shady, interestingly enough, because a lot of people that followed this 17th letter also did not get their accounts back. So we're very honored. So we are so censored. They took our PayPal, our Patreon, our YouTube. They took everything from us. They took, I mean, Shady, Teespring. We couldn't even sell a t-shirt. This is what they do. Yeah, because we're talking about Bigfoot, right? It must be something big.
No, we can talk about that.
Yeah, Spotify too. Spotify, they took us off there, and Media Matters did that, and Media Matters got us off all those platforms. So there must be something to this, no?
Of course, you're over the mark. I mean, simple as that, right? Because that old expression, right? Nobody wants to break into an empty house. So you must have something worth breaking into, right? Bottom line. But so I do have lots of questions, right? The whole issue with Trump. And yes, we believe also, many of my viewers believe that the election was stolen. Absolutely. We're on the same page, no doubt about it. But I want to make sense of what is taking place right now, because clearly there's nuances and details that are just passing us by. There's people keep talking about things like Q drops and obviously and the numbers and talking about the timing of things that are taking place. So I want to start wherever you're most comfortable with. I suspect perhaps we should just look at what is going on in LA to do with ICE, the deportations. What are your thoughts on that? Because obviously mainstream media feed us one version. I just watched a news conference with Gavin Newsom. Well, me and Gavin Newsom couldn't possibly be on the same page ever.
Yeah, well, so maybe one way to really quick just give you an overview of some of the confusion that's out there. Everything regarding Q is extraordinarily confusing because there's been a number of people, millions of them, that have come to a conversation to confuse the conversation so that people can't understand what's happening. People are people think that it was somehow a prophetic type operation. The Q was not being prophetic. Q was talking about the law and order in America and how law and order works and different things that would happen if law and order were usurped. Right now, you're seeing a bunch of these things being unlocked because what Q said early on was talks about riots in many cities in America happening at the same time, a coordinated effort to undermine the president of the United States, and also a coordination that would bring in the Marines to work with the National Guard in communities where people are trying to get violent and essentially, quote unquote, mostly peacefully protest. So effectively what we're seeing right now is a number of the posts that were dropped early by Q explaining this dynamic that were put out in late 2017 are now starting to come to fruition in Trump's new administration. And Trump's new administration doesn't have all of the same hangers on, if you will, trying to drag him down.
That's right. So Sonia, real quick, I'll show you a Q proof right now. If you want to bring me full screen, I'll share my screen.
Let's do this. Let me just solo layout. I wonder if that will bring you a full screen. Let me just try it here, down here. Oh, it's not wanting me to for some reason. Oh, here we go. Let's try that. There you go.
Nice.
Okay. So on 6/6 was D-Day, right? The day of days. Okay. All right. So on 6/7, okay, it all started right after the day of days, D-Day. Defense Secretary Hegseth said the Marines may deploy from Camp Pendleton, and they in fact did have from San Diego if the violence continues. President Trump posted paid insurrectionists on 6/4/2020, right? So this is 6/4/2020. Marine Camp Pendleton, San Diego, Marine QVIR to central locations under guise of citizen riot control. That's happening now. This is what we call a Q proof. It couldn't happen in 2020 as well because the election got stolen. So now we're looking at the Q proofs now. Like Shady was saying, Q never predicted a date. There is no dates that have been predicted. And then you've got this right here. This is Q post 1, okay? Expect massive riots organized in defiance and others fleeing the U.S. to occur. U.S. militaries will conduct the operation while National Guard activated. You see all that happening right now.
Is this you? We do see all that happening right now, right? Which is why it's so fascinating. Is it, for want of a better description, is Q a kind of Nostradamus for the modern age? No, not that.
So everybody says that. Okay, so let me just be clear. Let me just read this for you. There is Q, okay? And there are anons. There is no QAnon, okay? The media labeling QAnon is a method to deliberately combine and attach Q to comments, theories, and suggestions, statements, and actions made by anons, okay? We have a lot of anons that have infiltrated this movement. For example, they're saying that General Flynn is a hero. This is not a General Flynn movement. This is a Donald Trump movement, okay? And Flynn was Scaramucci modeled in 23 days, okay? He was fired for lying to the president. This is a Donald Trump movement, not a General Flynn movement.
And I think that it would be good to explain the reason that some of this stuff, what Q said was future proves past, news unlocks the map. So what that meant was that events in the future, once we go to get down to the nuts and bolts of this operation of taking these people who are controlling the global financing, we're taking these people and start to take their network apart. Once we start taking their network apart, they're going to start coming loose at every end. Every edge is going to become frayed, and they're going to start to panic. And whenever they start to panic, all dictators and people that have tyrannical minds, they do one thing: they grab power. You can predict that. You can game that out. So we are basically antagonizing them to step into the light and show the world who they really are, and that they've really been conspiring with the Chinese and this whole COVID thing and everything that's going on with globalism and climate change and all this stuff. Well, isn't it interesting how that just turned into gender, and then it just turned into Palestine, and now it's turning into something else?
A million different agendas. Now, it's very interesting what you said, because what I always like to do in order to take the temperature of what is actually being said in the mainstream, I like to look on Wikipedia, how something is described on Wikipedia, because then you get a good idea of how the mainstream works. And the first thing they say is QAnon. And you've just dispelled that. You've literally said that's not the way it functions, right? So straight off the bat, right? Really interesting. Obviously, the thing that people always ask all the time is, who is Q? Is Trump? I mean, that is a question that people ask a lot.
So Q said that Q team is less than 10, 3 non-military, but Q plus is Donald J. Trump.
So whenever you're seeing the drops, we can show you guys where we can give you some links or whatever where you can go see the drops. When you see a drop signed by Q plus, that drop is a specific message from Donald Trump during his first administration. And so effectively, the reason that this is so important is because the media, look at what the media is doing. They're saying, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. The reason that they know that it's connected to Donald Trump, they know Donald Trump initiated it. But if they admit it, then they have to admit that it's legitimate from the president, and they have to interface with it like it's real instead of being able to censor us because we interface with it like it's real.
So you know what's important is not who Q is, it's what Q is. And I'll give you an example, okay? We did a big dig that no quote-unquote QAnon followers actually stuck to. We have foreign and all assets F+D deployed. All assets, foreign and domestic, deployed. This is Arabella Advisors, led by Hans-Jörg Wyss. Have you heard of Hans-Jörg Wyss from Switzerland?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So he's funding all of this as well. So all of us Anons have been digging on all these individual foundations and institutes. However, we missed this huge, big something, this bigger, which is Arabella Advisors. And the Clinton Foundation is at the center of it all because one of his actual people that helped Clinton in his administration actually worked, is the CEO or invented Arabella Advisors, and that's Eric Kessler. Okay, so Eric Kessler, Arabella Advisors, 2005. They started funding all of this. They funded all of this vote fraud. They funded everything that you see. And, you know, that's how they do it is through, in America, we have 501c3s and 501c4s. 501c3s, you have to tell you exactly who's donating. 501c4s, you don't. So we've got domestic and foreign billionaires funding our culture change here in America. And
100%. Absolutely. And when you have a congressman who says the only flag that should be raised is America, that's a nonsense because you see all manner of flags being raised in America, just as in the UK, we're equally as captured. Absolutely, we are. So what I've been observing and finding interesting is Donald Trump appears to be talking in code himself when he's putting out his social media posts. Is it according with what you were expecting regarding this?
So that's a great question, and I want to show you this. I actually made if you want to show my screen one more time, this is President Trump. He hits a 1652 timestamp, and that's military time, Eastern Standard Time, and oh boy, is it relevant. The Q post that was relevant is ICE executes its mission through enforcement of more than 400 federal statutes and focuses on smart immigration enforcement, preventing terrorism, and combating the illegal movement of people and trade, ICE.gov. And this is about the time on 7/1/2018 that the Democrats wanted to abolish ICE. Hashtag goodbye Democrats. And this post was let me just make it come down because this is a post of the National Guard coming out of the federal building in LA. Enough is enough.
So right there, what he's showing you is that Donald Trump put this post out with that video post at the time that it was. This is how Q taught us to correspond with Donald Trump and Dan Scavino by paying attention to their timestamps, military time and regular grade time, and then going and connecting it to the Q posts that have that time stamp. So when Donald Trump the other day made this post with the video of the National Guard coming out to stand up and defend the ICE detention center that was being assaulted by rioters, Donald Trump posted that at the timestamp that marked that post that Jeff just read to you.
About ICE.
About ICE.
It's fascinating. So does he ever himself acknowledge Q?
Yes, he's posted many Q plus memes as of recently when people were trying to say, I think Q is a psyop. And then Donald Trump posts about 10 Q plus memes. And he's posted, nothing can stop what is coming. That's Q. Where we go, one, we go all. He's posted that. And by the way, where we go, one, we go all is not a Q term. It's from a movie called White Squall. Thank you for playing, mainstream media.
And so, but within
fascinating
over the past 3 to 4 years since Joe Biden has been the president, Donald Trump has been on Truth Social. He has many times posted memes that come from the quote Q community, memes that will have a Q in them, memes that will have a slogan in them, memes that will be connected somehow to Q. Many times within the last few months, he has upped that progress, and now he's doing it even more often with memes that have like the lapel says Q plus. All of these things are signs and signals. These aren't necessarily signs and signals to people who followed Q. These are signs and signals to the globalist deep state that Q is fighting, because the dynamic is Donald Trump and Q and the American patriots are fighting globalism. Yep. That's the dynamic, and that's literally what we're looking at. So everybody can like look at all these different layers and whatever, but that's the core of it.
There was that meme with the two Pepes in there. Nothing can stop what is coming.
Yes, that's right. So you are seeing a lot. I love the energy of you guys, by the way. You absolutely, it's wonderful.
Let us know if you want us on your network. Let's go.
Fantastic.
Let's go.
We love it. We love it. So what is interesting is what you're telling us at the moment, all the things that we're seeing, ICE, the deportation and everything. This is essentially the Q jobs playing out in real time for all of us to see. Right.
Because they didn't play out in 2020 because they were successful in getting them on, and so, you've got a lot of people doing. So a lot of the vote fraud is because of the illegal aliens. 750,000 people in a area is one seat in the House of Representatives. Wow. Okay. So that is actually, if you look at the U.S. Census and how they do House of Representatives and representatives, that's how they're doing it.
And so a lot of the stuff that has been thrown at you about, voting machines and Italy and all these different nonsensical China, different theories or whatever, it's not really relevant. What's relevant is that these last 3 and 4 administrations in America have imported roughly 30 to 35 million people. That's a whole voting block. They're scattered out all over the country. What we want, as far as not just Q, but 75% of Americans that just voted for Donald Trump, we wanted change. We wanted these people thrown out. The infiltrators that are here in America are holding on to them. They do not want to release them because they're their cheap labor force. We want them gone. This dynamic was predicted by Q because Q was basically saying at some point the rubber is going to meet the road and we are going to go into LA and all of these sanctuary cities and start deporting these people. And these guys are going to lose their minds whenever we do it.
And they have, completely. And the thing is, we were talking about this on Monday's show, but the reality is Donald Trump is actually doing what you voted for him to do. That is the reality. We don't have to people don't have to like it, but the president is actually doing the odd thing of doing what his voters had asked him to do. So what about situations like the Epstein files? We're repeatedly told, we're going to see a video, we're going to see this, and then there's a delay. And then Kash Patel comes out and says, no, Epstein definitely killed himself. What about Jeff, you're smiling. What about anything like that? How does that kind of have any say in what's taking place?
Let me put my common sense hat on. Okay. Common sense hat is on.
We love that.
Let's go ahead and give the enemy all the details of the Epstein list so they can counterpunch on it. Or are we not seeing what's really happening? Because Q said that we're not going to see 60 to 70% of what's happening. Maybe there's grand juries. It's got to be done right. The wheels of justice turn slow, but when they turn fast. So, they did kind of, in my opinion, it was a test for those influencers when they gave them that binder. Okay. That's all information we had years ago. Okay. And those people just went around getting clicks, trying to get paid on X, right? Just showing the binder. They didn't tell you what was in the binder. That's what a reporter does. So they were being tested, in my opinion, on what an actual influencer or reporter reports the news does. They didn't report on it. They just took pictures of it saying, look what we got. Neener, neener, neener. I think that was a test.
And I thought it was quite obscene as well, because let's not forget, we're talking about apparently files which contain details of abuse, and they were acting, like it was, like they're pop stars or something. And I found but I wondered whether that was also a way of filtering them out as well, because these were the type of influencers that you wouldn't necessarily turn your back on. Really.
Well, one thing that we're seeing here that's very interesting that maybe your audience would be interested to kind of get a glimpse of is if you're seeing all of this stuff out there, all these attacks on Pam Bondi, all of these attacks on Kash Patel, all of these attacks on Dan Bongino, if you go to the core of that and see the criticisms and what they're saying stuff like, when Pam Bondi's going on Fox News doing all, but if you go look at the Department of Justice and all of the arrests that are being made and all of these networks that are being disrupted and all of these cartel investigations that are coming to fruition that's going on, it's huge. Okay, so if somebody's telling you that Pam Bondi isn't doing anything, they're lying to you, because they're trying to gin up hatred for Pam Bondi. They're trying to gin up opposition to Donald Trump. So what we're doing as quote unquote Q people is we are supporting Donald Trump's version 2.0 administration, because we feel like he's put together a dynamic administration like no other in American history, of actual competent people that have competency ratings above a level 75 IQ, and are doing things that are productive for the country. So we're giving them the benefit of the doubt. And what we're seeing is all these military operators in the field of social media pretending to be media are setting up an attack and a psychological operation against Trump's administration by undermining Bondi, Patel, and Bongino.
And I'm not a big Bongino fan, and I live in the same city as Dan Bongino, by the way. And he does not like the 17th letter of the alphabet one bit. And I see somebody falling for, yes, he worked for Obama. Yes, he worked for Hillary. I get it. But did you see him come out with the Kash Patel interview, how down and out he was? Because I think he knows the truth now, and it's not happy. The truth is not happy because he might have been protecting people that he probably shouldn't have been protecting.
And that's the worry, isn't it, really? And also the worry is that we'll never get to the bottom of it, because I take what you're saying, right? The truth is, in reality, when people are carrying out investigations, police investigations, they don't tell you every cough and spit as they're going through it, right? That's not how it works. But we have also been told lots, haven't we? They've taken a lot to, like, Joe Rogan's show, for example, and they've done a lot of, CNN or wherever, and they've talked about extensively. We've got these videos. Wouldn't it have been better for them not to have said anything? Because it's almost like they've left a gap, which makes people believe that they are dishonest.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Great point. And we need honest journalism, and when you're wrong, admit you're wrong. But everybody has such a big ego. They can't, like, I supported somebody that I shouldn't have supported because I was fooled. And then when I found out that person was not a good person and came out against them, oh boy, did all poop hit the fan, for lack of a better term. But I stand behind what I research. If they admit that Q, the 17th letter of the alphabet, is real, they admit that our digs are real. That's the problem they got.
And it's a big problem that they have, because effectively, so whenever we talk about journalism is a very dynamic thing. And what we've been witnessing and what we've learned even after Q is that the quote unquote right-wing media in America, the Breitbart layer, the Bannon layer, all of these people, the Roger Stone layer, the Alex Jones layer, all of those people are working in tandem with the military-industrial complex against you in the public arena on social media. So they're creating psychological operations against you and against Donald Trump while they are out in public pretending like they support MAGA, pretending like they support Donald Trump. That's why there's this weird dynamic that nobody can seem to put their finger on. And so what we are doing, we are attacked by the right-wing media, all these people that are, quote, QAnon people. Well, they don't much care for Matrix and Shady. And then all the people that over here that are Democrat liberals, well, they don't much care for us either, because we are really just researching the truth and presenting it as we can prove it. We don't say anything on the air we can't prove. Therefore, they can't use our words against us.
That's right. So if you want to have another show about who we think did January 6th to make MAGA look violent, you might want to have that on our
I absolutely would love to do that. Absolutely. because I want to also ask you some questions that I've been sent. Sure. Neil, thank you so much. Neil, very fascinated about you coming on. And you've actually answered some of his questions already, including, is this the third term for Trump? You've already answered that. Clearly, it is, as far as you're concerned, right? And one of his questions is, is the military in control via continuity of government?
Negative.
No. That's a no. What's going on is the military tried to generate a continuity of government operation against Trump, and they sent all their minions out in public to say, oh, Trump is really in charge, when in all reality, Donald Trump would not allow 20 million more illegals to come here. Donald Trump would not allow the degradation that has happened to our country over the last 4 years.
If Trump was in charge, let's put our common sense hat. If Trump was in charge with all that, Afghanistan stuff, would you vote for him?
I wouldn't.
No. Right. It's bull poop.
Right. Got you. There is actually so much. And also the other thing that Neil said is are we watching a movie to wake people up? Is that, because that is essentially what you're saying as well. That seems to be in accord with what Neil's saying. You are saying this is very deliberate. This is very much about waking us all up. And so, there'll be people out there and they'll write into me saying, have you lost the plot? Have you gone absolutely into, but we're used to that, aren't we? I mean, we are used to that, and it's absolutely fine. And the thing is, we never get to we're never gonna get to the truth just by following what legacy media have to say. So we have to go to the outer edges to find out what people like your good selves are saying. Before you leave us today, we've absolutely flown past.
Well, I want to real quick address something.
That is what I want to do. Go for it.
You're watching a movie, all these little, key words. How about dig into more deeper into the Q post instead of people saying you're watching a movie, it's all scripted actors? No, it's not. There's moves and counter moves. You saw that Trump didn't get elected in 2020. We all thought he did, right? Sometimes you have to go away and show people the truth, and because you can't tell them. So Donald Trump was not elected, right? And Biden was the president, not Trump. Okay, guys. The devolution stuff was set up by the same network that we're talking about that did January 6th, that did the Brooks Brothers riot. And we can go into that in another show. But dig deeper. They always use these little keywords. Okay, these are narrative seeders, and what makes a good movie? Everybody says actors. I say it's a script, because I've seen a lot of people that were good actors that were bad movies.
So guys, prepare us. What's likely to happen over the next few days?
Well, I'd say buckle up and just support your president, President Trump. Look for more National Guard deployments in other cities. Q said maybe 19, Shady? I can't remember the exact number, but there's going to be more, and there's going to be more news unlocking the map. And if you want to follow us, we're only on Rumble because YouTube got us. I hope you still have your account after you have us on this show.
Well, I sincerely hope so. I would be complaining if not. I've put a link already, guys, I think in the description to the guys' website. You can find out more about them, because for some people it'll be like, what on earth have I just stepped into? But that's fine. It's all about expanding our minds around here. Go on, Shannon.
And as far as like what we're getting ready to see in America, what you're getting ready to see is you're getting ready to get a heaping helping of law and order. That's what you're getting ready to see. Law and order is we have a new sheriff in town, a man that's at the top of the heap, at the bully pulpit, that is going to instill law and order. He will do what is necessary to reclaim territory. These Marxists are occupying territory. Think about it like a war within our cities. They think that they can run the show. Donald Trump is getting ready to show them that they, in fact, do not run the show.
Let me read you some comments before you leave us today. Kim has said, Matrix and Shady Groove have helped me understand what has been happening for the last 6 years. They are so trustworthy. Good words. Lots of lovely comments about you, and lots of querying comments like, have I just stepped into some sort of, alternative universe? You may well have done. Yes, indeed. You may well have done. Absolutely wonderful to have you with us, guys. We are going to hook up again, 100%. I'm so grateful that we managed to pull this off.
Love your energy. Thank you for having us,
guys. Jeffrey and Jeffrey Pedersen and Shannon Townsend, to give them their correct names, or you can call them Matrix and Shady. I think that's right, isn't it?
Thanks
yes, there you go. Wonderful to have you both with us. Take good care. Have a brilliant rest of your show, guys. Lovely to have you with us.
You.
Worldwide.
Wonderful.
How cool.
Wonderful. How very cool was that to have them with us? And thanks to their producer who worked out how we were going to do that. Let's sincerely hope I'm not going to get in trouble, eh? Let's sincerely hope not. Thank you both. Thank you both. Subbed, says Eddie. Trust the plan, says Esoteric Knight of Malta. Indeed, indeed. Jan says brilliant. I love their energy. I just love that. It's like the thing about Wake Up, if you're new to around here, is that I try and have as open a mind as possible. Not so open that my brain is going to fall out, right? I'm not an idiot. I don't believe, I know that the climate change stuff, what's this? We're having trouble streaming to your destination. That's absolutely fine. We've already sorted that one out anyway. Should be fine. Let me just remove this destination. Yeah, absolutely fine, because they've just ended that. And we should be fine. Am I still all with you guys? Am I still all with you? I wonder what Americans did after they stopped. Now I know. What? Where's their channel, please? Leafy, if you look in the description below, I've already put a link in the description below. Right, we are going to be joined shortly by another guest. So let me just move on and talk about what I can find time for. This is interesting. I think David Bull, Reform, former TV presenter and Dr. David Bull has been named as Reform UK's new chairman. He's replaced Zia Youssef, who quit last week after clashing with one of the party's MPs over a potential ban for burqas. And serious question, though. Right now, who is Reform trying to appeal to? Because the party as it stands is not for the original membership. With now the advent of Dr. David Bull, it is absolutely reinforced more that Reform is pro-immigration, it's pro-LGBTQ agenda, it's pro-Islam, it's pro-experimental jabs, and it's pro-lockdown. And this is a conversation between Dr. David Bull and Richard Tice, obviously of Reform. Let me just bring that in and play that for you. God, I love those guys' energy. Absolutely. You don't have to believe a single word they say to be like, I really like the energy. I think this is the one that I want to play you. Hear what he has to say.
I'm very worried about. One is the low uptake of vaccine by BAME communities, and we just really need to emphasise to them that this is really important.
Yep.
And the other thing is about caregivers. They really must be vaccinated, because otherwise they're putting elderly and vulnerable people at risk.
Well, it's absolutely critical to their job, surely. I mean, I don't see how they can do the job if they're not prepared to be vaccinated.
And of course, you see in the UK, we don't believe in compulsory vaccination. Now, you can argue whether that's the right or wrong thing, but the one thing I will tell you is there's no way you're travelling abroad without a vaccine, because the airlines are going to demand it, and so are other countries.
But there are many jobs where actually a certain level of training or ability is required to do the job. And surely, if you're going to be a care worker, then you must be vaccinated in order to protect the residents.
Yeah.
Now, that's true, Jan. Let's hope they've changed their minds now the truth is out. I haven't seen them come out big time about mRNA, and actually their alien account, forgotten the full name, but you know who I'm talking about on X, frequently says, what about mRNA? Where you could talk about mRNA? They don't want to. And there was the issue of Dr. David Bull talking. He'd actually, what he'd done, as he had previously tweeted about how 9-year-olds kind of like should be having LGBTQ lessons. It was actually a newspaper article, but he had tweeted nothing to suggest that he disagreed with it. And also, this is something you might not know about David Bull, is that he's on Talk TV. I don't know if he is anymore, but he absolutely pushed the Lucy Letby is guilty narrative. Now, I don't happen to believe she is, or I believe at least there is enough grounds there to question whether it is a safe conviction. But he was absolutely insufferable when he had Lucy's new barrister on, Mark MacDonald. Mark MacDonald wanted to talk about miscarriages of justice, but David Bull was only wanted to talk about Beverly Aller, another UK nurse who had been previously convicted. So there's lots to say about him. And of course, he's now really upset people because he's doubled down on his whole thing. I think he said immigration was the lifeblood of England. And obviously, that is not what people are looking for from reform. That is the reality. And also, it should be pointed out, of course, that Dr. David Bull once called Nigel Farage a prejudiced and dangerous idiot. But also, I went in search of some of his tweets around C19. He was a big supporter of Jonathan Van Tam. In the UK, Jonathan Van Tam was somebody who stood at the podium. He was very senior in the UK health and an absolute promoter, obviously. And Dr. David Bull had tweeted about him in 2021, end of a long day. And the quote of the day goes to Jonathan Van Tam. Vaccines don't save lives if they're in fridges. They only save lives if they're in arms. Short, succinct and spot on. Good night all. Well, that is now the chairman of Reform. And I think the first thing that he should do is actually, if he wants to steady the party and steady the original membership, he needs to come out and say, I don't stand by that. That's not what I believe in. We aren't going forward like that. There's no way we'd support experimental jabs. There's no way we'd support lockdowns. That's what they need to do. And that ain't what's going to happen. And imagine if she caught you not washing your hands before sitting down for tea. And right. So David Bull is an excellent fit for Reform because he's just shown everyone that Reform have betrayed their core audience and will back every globalist agenda going. Right. That's really what you're being told. So it's up to you whether you want to believe that they are the party of the people. They are not the party of the people. They are a continuation of the Westminster elite that has turned politics into the sodden toxic mess that it is. Let me bring in our next guest. He's with us right now. Let's bring him in. Here he is, Matt Landman. How are you, Matt?
Hi, Sonia. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure. How are you?
Well, really, really good. Looking forward to seeing you next week. I take it we're all still on for June the 21st in Hyde Park, London.
Of course. Looking forward to it. Summer solstice. I'm really excited to be there in London with you and all of the like-minded people who care about the geoengineering, the sun dimming experiments, and the ongoing chemtrails and what have you.
As indeed we do. So let me bring up the poster and you can tell us a little bit about the event. And bear with me, darling. Let me just find it. Oh, now I can't find it. I will as you talk. But so the event is, as you say, summer solstice. I love that. Clearly, you picked that very specifically, right? Very specifically. So when did you first decide to do this and why London?
Wow. Yeah. Well, London, I decided because there's an awakening happening in the UK, and London is a central location. Since the lockdowns, it was like a smelling salt went over the populace, where people started to really look up and wake up and ask big questions. And me being the chemtrail activist who made the movie Frankenskies, and I've been hosting rallies and conferences and what have you since I got into this a decade ago. People have been reaching out to me from Wales, from South England, from Scotland. And last year I did some rallies in Scotland as well with the groups out there. There's been such a massive awakening regarding the geoengineering, the chemtrails, whatever word you want to give it. Some call it SAI, stratospheric aerosol injection. Some call it SRM, solar radiation management. Some call it, the UK government calls it SATAN, which stands for the Stratospheric Aerosol Transport and Nucleation Program. A wild acronym that also spells Satan, but I'll just leave that to you all to ponder. But yes, it is ongoing. It's been happening for decades. And I decided to put the rally together in January. Okay, the momentum was already there last year when I came over and I went to South England, to Bexhill, and interviewed the author Neil McRae for my sequel film, Frankenskies 2, Climate Chains, like shackles. But I never thought that the attention would be so massive. I could not have possibly predicted the perfect publicity out of the UK government. It's almost vindication and validation for us, the truthers and truth seekers or conspiracy theorists, whatever you want to call us. But the UK government, after I started putting together the rally starting in January, they announced that they'd be doing public sun dimming geoengineering experiments. No country has ever announced anything like this.
It's wild.
It is. It's just wild, and the timing is must be divinely planned and divinely orchestrated. So as I'm putting together the rally in March and April, come I believe it was early May or late April, the UK government announced they'll be spending 60 million quid in 2 weeks. They said they'll start dimming the sun in 2 weeks. What a vague number! And I started pondering, why 2 weeks? And maybe it's because of all of the programming during the lockdowns when they said 2 weeks to flatten the curve. So that's like a number in people's head, right? I don't know where they came up with 2 weeks. I mean, to say 2 weeks when they've been doing it for decades is just asinine and
exactly. Exactly. And also, don't forget, I mean, you pointed this out to me, and that is after the event on the 21st, a couple of days later, they're having the debate in Parliament based on the petition, right?
Yes, they will be debating whether they will allow or deny this new technology. They're calling it something brand new, the geoengineering. As we know, it's been going on for quite some time. And it's very fascinating, actually, which this will be a bit of the speech that I give. But when did the lines really start showing up in the sky worldwide? Well, around 1995. And what is the definition of climate? Well, climate is defined as 30 years of weather. So here we are in 2025, 30 years later, after 30 years of spraying the sky relentlessly. And now the weather has been changed, and 30 years of the weather defined is the climate. So the climate has now been changed. So we have climate change. And here they are saying that they need to fix climate change with the exact same problem that they've created. They're telling us it's the solution, the classic problem reaction solution paradigm that they use in other instances as well, you know, you name it. But it's insane. So yes, Parliament will be meeting, and I'll be lined up to try to get in the door because they're only allowing 25 people to sit in on it. But they will be on that following Monday, and the timing of that is just incredible too. So we're having the rally on Saturday, and then 2 days later, Parliament is discussing, you know, whether to allow or ban. But whatever they say, you know, will be a lie. If they ban it, they'll continue to spray. If they allow it, they'll say that they're going to do it safely and do it for our own good, which is also a lie.
It's mind-blowing stuff. Is it Direct Graffiti says, thank you. Thanks for using my post in your presentation, Matt. You're a legend. And so I presume that's the fist. Is that what he's talking about? I'm not sure. But either way, tell us about who's going to be there. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to talk. I'm going to be live streaming, but I'm also going to be briefly talking about what happened when I've attempted to get mainstream media to cover this issue and kind of give that perspective. But tell us who else is going to be there and speaking.
I'm going to be there speaking. And your lovely self will be there speaking. Gareth Ike says he may be there, maybe speaking. James Dellingpool has given me a maybe as well. But also we have Christian Watterson of Sheep Farm. He'll be there speaking. The lovely Francis O'Neill, who I know that you've interviewed before, he'll be there speaking. Jason Leosatis, I might be butchering his last name, he'll be there as well. And then we've got a lineup of musicians too. We've got a reggae musician. We've got Unregistered Chickens. We've got the Daznez band. Also Billy Hunt and Phil Zimmerman. And it's going to be an amazing. It's going to be an amazing day.
I'm going to be there. James said I'm going to be there. I met Gareth Ike at an event in Mexico this year. Did you, Mark? Wow. That's good. And so I think it's going to be an amazing day. Let's hope for really good weather. They'll probably spray us, won't they? I mean, the thing is I think it's going to, this is literally like the first event that I can recall in Hyde Park. About this. It's perfect. Outdoors, absolutely perfect. And I think I know loads of people who's going. I think it's going to be a really good gathering. It's exciting, Matt. How long are you staying in London for?
Well, I'll be there until the day after the parliamentary meeting. So I'll be there for a week in total. And the event is at Marble Arch, which is just a stone's throw from Speaker's Corner. And then we'll be going over there to Speaker's Corner area to have a picnic afterwards. So that'll be nice to be able to meet everybody and what have you. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes and seeing what kind of turnout we get. There could be 500 people. There could be 500,000. I'm hopeful that people come and care about the sun. They care about the next generation. They care about the weather, the ongoing engineering of the skies, the spraying, whatever word you want to give it. It's up to us to come together to show the world that we do not consent, that we care about the next generation, that we don't want to pass on to them a blocked out sun and a toxic sky. It's noteworthy that the #1 cause of death now in the UK is dementia and Alzheimer's, which comes from aluminum toxicity buildup in the brain. Where is all that aluminum coming from?
Careful, we're on YouTube. Yes, I take your point. Absolutely. This is all
the
stuff.
It seems to be related to the solar geoengineering. Yes.
Understood. And I think it's in a wonderful place as well, because historically, of course, that area of London is where people used to get on their soapboxes. They talk about things that aren't being covered by legacy media, by mainstream media. So it has historic significance to be there as well. People are saying this is sounding amazing. And yes, let's read some of these comments. If I was in the UK, I'd be there, said Drumstick. Drumstick, you're in Denmark, aren't you, my love? Hyde Park, I might go. I will live stream it, Jacqueline. And so I will get that absolutely organized, because I think it will be worth it, certainly. There'll probably be other people as well doing live streams and all manner of things, but I will certainly live stream it to my channel. Yes, I absolutely will. Very much looking forward to it, Matt. Really can't wait. Very exciting. And obviously we'll promote it again next week. Our show is close to coming to an end. Matt, before you leave, what do you want to say to people?
If you can't make it, and if you're overseas or something like that, consider coming together in solidarity and having a backyard gathering,
yes.
a film screening for Frankenskies. I know there's different places like North Wales and the capital of New Hampshire and St. Louis, Missouri. Different places are popping up and they're having their own gatherings in solidarity. March Against Monsanto did the same thing. In 2013, they started it off in 400 cities worldwide. And now we know the name Monsanto. And now we have choice in the food that we eat. We have labels, we have legislation, and people are in the know. We don't have a choice in the air that we breathe. But if we gather together and we have these worldwide rallies and we do it annually, which is my big plan, then we can expose and bring light and raise the consciousness on the Frankenskies, just like we did with the Frankenfoods. So please join us in person, join us in solidarity, and I look forward to meeting you all in person.
Absolutely. Can't wait to meet you, Matt. I will speak to you next week, everybody. This is Matt Landman, and he is the director of Frankenskies, and he's going to be leading us for a revolution next week, which I'm very much looking forward to. Our American cousin. Yes, indeed. Matt Landman, everybody. Take good care of yourself, Matt. See you next week. Lovely to have you with us. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, Sonia.
Excellent. Thank you. Wonderful. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it'll be a nice day out. I do. I love that name, Unregistered Chickens. I'd never actually heard that before. Outrunner said, Matt LANDMAN is a great man. Revolution. Thank you, Matt, says Lynn. Right. What else have we got to talk about before the end of our show today? Children, what have we got to talk about? I want to talk about this, actually. Let me bring in an image, if I may. Oh, have I run out of space? Let me just see. Did I mention with the guys about the whole Elon Musk and Donald Trump thing, where obviously last week Elon Musk made that whole comment about how the reason that the Epstein files haven't been released is because Trump is in them. Well, today, oh no, that's not the one we want. That's it. I regret some of my posts about President real Donald Trump last week. They went too far. That's what Elon Musk tweeted earlier today. And he doesn't say that he was lying or that he made it up or that he's even sorry. He just said they went too far. They probably went too far for his investors and handlers, I should imagine. Thank you, Cara. Thank you, Cara. And right, let me see. What did I just say I was going to look at? I want to look at, are any of you familiar with Professor David Miller? He's a good chap, and I've interviewed him before on both TNT, and he also talked at the UK Column live event last year that I was at as well. Let me just bring in an image of him. He's done some good work. He's been doing some very interesting work. Let me just find an image so that I can illustrate what it is I'm talking about. Because that always makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? If only she could. If only she could. Here we go. Miller. And so Professor David Miller, he fell foul of Bristol University for his views on the Middle East, and he succeeded at a tribunal when it was acknowledged that his anti-Zionist beliefs are worthy of respect. He's written a brilliant article based around the UK music industry and a secret Zionist plot to oust pro-Palestine artist Kneecap from the huge Glastonbury festival later this month. And the piece is actually excellent. I think I might even have put a link already in the description. If I haven't, I will afterwards. And what he's revealed is music industry executives who have secretly tried to stop Kneecap performing, which is not doing anything to dispel the stereotype that Zionists are creepy individuals who run all the entertainment industries, including music. That's not helping. And there's a lot, I understand. For some people, there is a lot of frustration over the attention that Israel gets. I get it. There are other atrocities absolutely taking place around the world, but I still know that this one is different. And it's different because you have all of these, obviously, parliamentarians, members of Congress, and they're all pro-Israel. They're not all pro-Sudan or Myanmar, right? And the other thing that I think is interesting about it is I believe is at a tipping point. I believe that so much hinges on what has taken place in Israel and the support it receives around the world from Zionists, that I think if we can topple that, I think so much else will topple as well. So those are the reasons why I think, and obviously it's clear, genocide and travesty, but that doesn't mean it's the only genocide that's taking place in our world. Anyway, what David has done, brilliant stuff. And he's done it for his Press TV show, Palestine Declassified, and he obtained private correspondence which was sent to the Glastonbury Festival, and it was attempting to intimidate the organisers into cancelling Kneecap. It was marked private and confidential. The email states that the authors wanted to raise Glastonbury's awareness about Kneecap. The message claims that the band is propagating hate and should not be protected by free speech. It talks about how Jews are not going to be comfortable at Glastonbury and all this sort of stuff. It was all done in secret. And I think it was between 20 and 30 Zionist music industry executives, including David Levy of talent group WME Agency. And he represents a number of huge artists at the WEM agency, including, I think, Dua Lipa, a number of others. But they're big enough, that's for sure. And another one that is, I think, of interest is let me just find the details here. I think it's Paul Samuels. And I think what's interesting about Mr. Samuels in particular is he's part of the whole kind of music industry against racism thing. He began his career at Atlantic Records. He reportedly helped to launch Estelle's success with Kanye Yee West now, as he calls himself. And I think it's very interesting. Samuels, for one example, he signed a number of acts, including Craig David, as well as Sinead O'Connor. And so these people sent this secret squirrel letter to Emily, Nick and Melvin at Glastonbury Festival. And I looked at the lineup and it would appear that it's fallen on deaf ears, because Kneecap are still absolutely listed to appear on Saturday. So Glastonbury Festival is June 25th to 29th. Kneecap will be playing on the Saturday, an hour-long set from 4 to 5 on the West Holt stage. So it didn't work. And this kind of secret business of, get rid of them I hate that stuff. I truly hate that stuff, right? It's repulsive. And just don't like it. I'm not a big supporter of any form of cancel culture, whatever it is to do with. And I think people can speak with their money. That's a whole other story. But there's a big difference between people saying, I'm not going there because they're performing, and the people organizing it being sort of, bullied and intimidated in some way into dropping the artist. Big difference. And I want to talk about this. I see it's 6:05, but it's fine, because I want to refer to what is going on with Robert F. Kennedy. That is, listen, if that's at the moment, that's looking impressive. Right. I wonder if you know what I'm talking about. Right. So basically, there's this huge meltdown, which is currently taking place by compromised doctors who have been pushers and before caring about their patients. And what has happened essentially is that Robert F. Kennedy, who's obviously in charge of America's health, has now fired all 17 members of the CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention's Advisory Committee. And I want to play you a little clip from the video. And please, we need this. We absolutely need this in the UK. So let me just play this for you. And just bring this up, if I may, because this is the kind of stuff that I want to hear more of. Okay. So what he's talking about here is the huge increase in childhood vaccinations in America and the reason why he fired the entire panel. Have a listen to this.
In 1986, there were 11 vaccines on the schedule. Today, a compliant child must take between 69 and 92 vaccines to stay in school in some states. And not one of them has been safety tested in a pre-licensing placebo-controlled trial. And that is just malpractice. So the people who were in charge of that are now gone.
And Shug, you're absolutely right. Talk is cheap, right? Talk is cheap. But I think it's an excellent start to fight, like he said, the people who, permitted that and allowed all that, they've now gone. So at least it's a clean sweep. But the question is, so he says, I'm not going to fill this with anti-vaxxers, right? Which I thought was a bit demonizing, because it just needs to be people who are aware of all the limitations, right? And how people are compromised, because clearly people are absolutely compromised when it comes to government and the American administration. They're compromised in the UK. I mean, now it must have been 2012, and I did a piece for the Daily Express, and it was about, they were voting on reforms to the National Health Service, and it was about how many politicians, including Laws, who were all involved in the voting of this particular bill, how many had links to private healthcare companies. There were private healthcare companies and private healthcare insurance who were furnishing the office of these MPs, and they were on boards and everything. Now, at local level, you wouldn't be able to vote for that, but at national level, they could vote for it. So we've known for a long time in the UK that our politicians are absolutely compromised when it comes to big pharma. And of course, they are in the US as well. And this, I think, is at least a start. It's at least a start. I just want to bear in mind, as well what Jeff and Shannon said earlier, because that is a valuable point, and that is we aren't necessarily going to see everything going on in front of the screen, right? We are also going to be told things that where they may be prepping in the background. I allow for that as well. These, by nature, I don't trust anybody who gets into these kind of positions of power, because I know how compromised they are generally, but I think it's a good start. I think it's a decent start, and we shall see. And I went to have a look at the CDC page. I see that they've scrubbed it already. And I found some of the names, I think, who have been removed. And it's interesting when you start to trace some of those names, what you discover is the backing from who, Gates Foundation and more. And so that obviously, the moment that is the case, that any of these people who are on the advisory board are linked in any way to any big pharma companies, to the Gates Foundation, immediately they are compromised. Thank you. Charles, you're a star. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Very, very, very much. So we shall see. We shall see. Please let it be. Please let it be. Donators, thank you as ever. You are absolute stars. The behind the scenes video is available now, and I'm sending out to people who aren't on Patreon and who have donated. It is also available on, I have a link for it if you don't want to go onto Patreon that I can send you. Absolutely. More than happy to do that. And in it, there is a clip. I wonder if I clip that. Oh, I have, so you can actually hear it. So in it is a clip where I'm behind the scenes this month is me walking in the park with my dog, talking about the first year of Wake Up, but also it's in two parts, but also it is about the trip to Bob's exhibition, behind the scenes, etc. And part of that trip involved being on a bus going down Park Lane. Now, Park Lane is often called Billionaires Row, Billionaires Paradise. It is one of the most expensive areas in London. You can see that on the Monopoly board, and that is a fact, right? But that's also where all these tents are pitched up, these so-called immigration tents. And I ended up having a conversation with two Irish women on the bus. I'm just going to play you that brief clip so you can hear it, just brief, and you can actually see it as well. And we're talking about it being a government agenda, because if it wasn't a government agenda, there is no way that those tents would still be up. Just have a brief listen. Agenda for them to permit it to stay there.
Otherwise, you get rid of them, wouldn't you? Oh my God, look at that.
So I think you can see it all there. Probably not as many as they're showing on TV. This is where Patrick Christie was supposed to have had water or some kind of liquid substance thrown over him. I don't know. Is it M's birthday? Is it M's birthday? Top Smoke wants me to be stricter. Stricter about what, Top Smoke? But happy birthday, M. Bless you. Bless you. Happy birthday, darling. Happy birthday. What else to say? Yeah, happy birthday to her. Last night, Synchronized Souls. Check out the Only Cans podcast. Of course, Only Cans are back. We need to talk about the McCann case. They do regular updates on the McCann case. And this one is interesting. I've managed to watch part of it, guys, not all of it. Thank you, Randy. Bless you for your generosity. I very much appreciate that. I haven't watched it all. But this one is, what's interesting is that they had asked AI about the McCann case. That is really interesting, because obviously, AI, you can think what you want. And a lot of the time, obviously, AI is based on information that's on the internet. But I found these results of what AI said very interesting. So I think I've already put a link in the description. Please check it out. They are friends of Wake Up, and I do like to support them. And before I leave today, a couple of things. I'm not going to play it because I might get a copyright strike for it. But has anybody seen that video featuring a man, a pig, a duck, and a parrot? Anybody seen it? And they're dancing to Born to Be Alive. Thank you, Fred. Bless you. Thank you, Hatchie. I appreciate that. Anyway, I'm going to show you an image of it. But I'm telling you, if you want to be heartened and feel good about life, you must absolutely check this out. Let me see if I can. It's everywhere, right? And this guy is literally singing Born to Be, well, he's not singing Born to Be Alive. They've got Born to Be Alive playing in the background, and the pig is eating off of a spoon. And David Cameron porn. I'd love to, Randy, but the problem is I think I'd get a copyright. Oh, guys, you've got to see it. You've absolutely got to see it, right? It's under Gabrielle E Cicciolina. So it's Gabrielle, and it's _E_CICCIOLINA. It is absolutely brilliant. I know it sounds like the start of a bad joke. Absolutely. But it's so perfect. And what happens is every time the man turns around, the parrot dances. Honestly, if you want happiness, right? If you want happiness in a minute, it is in those videos, and he's done a pile of them where he's in different states of dress and undress, but it's absolutely brilliant and well worth it if you want lifting up. Thank you so much, Johnny. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. You are absolute stars as ever. Full moon this week, by the way, depending where you are. It was either last night or tonight, in the upbeat, optimistic and fiery sign of Sagittarius, aka the strawberry moon. Is so named after the wild strawberries that start to ripen during early summer. And the full moon will apparently be sat very low. And I saw it last night, right? And what will happen is it may appear to be much bigger because it's actually like the lowest it's been for years, or rather closer to us. Could even be a kind of like stunning orange red. It's lovely. Is that right, Priscilla? I'm going to struggle with that information. Really? Cicciolina apparently was a porn star once, an Italian. Not this man. You're kidding. Are you saying that this man was a porn star? Is that true? Thanks, Jan. You're all welcome. The pig man parrot. Randy, you'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. Check out the knack. My Sharona. Has he done it to that as well? It's absolutely wonderful. Oh yeah, she's a woman. Got you. Oh yeah, I remember that. Anyway, that video is worth it. You'll love it. I think he is Italian. It's fabulous. So as ever, we're going to leave on a quote, because why ever not? And seeing as it is such a positive, upbeat moon, I'm going to finish on a positive, upbeat quote, and that is: being positive does not mean ignoring the negative. Being positive means overcoming the negative, just like that. Listen, I want to thank you so much for being in the live chat today. And as I say, don't forget to watch Only Cans, please. I know I've already put a link in the description. And Priscilla, he's playing with her name. Absolutely. Yes, Esoteric Night. Thank you. Share this episode. Let's get Sonia over 100K. Guys, we're like 500-600 away from 100K subs on YouTube. Thank you so much for you all. I will see you on Friday. I love you. Happy birthday, Blossom. Happy birthday. Thank you all for the super chat. Thank you all for being here. You are absolute stars. Thank you, of course, to my wonderful guests. Thank you to all contributors. I love you muchly. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you on Friday. Take care, people. Take care. Love each other.